Hey everybody, I am Carolyn Byers. I'm the Education Director at Madison Audubon, and today is week one of summer camp, round two of summer camp. So welcome to all of my new campers, all of my second rounders. I'm so excited to explore with you this summer. And if you're just tuning in and you're not really sure what summer camp is, I'm going to tell you about it. So first of all, it is free. It's open to anyone. You don't have to be a member. It is geared towards kids in grades 2 through 6, but we have suggestions for how you might adjust it to meet the kids in your life, wherever they're at, because nature's for everybody. That's awesome. So let's see, we have 4 weeks of summer camp. And this year, it's all focused on our senses and how humans use their senses and how animals use their senses. So we have week one, which is all about sight. That's what we're doing today. Week two is all going to be about hearing. Week three is about smell and a little bit about taste. And week four is animal superheroes. And these are all of the animals that have senses that are really different from humans, like maybe so different that we can only really imagine what it must be like to see the world like those animals, or hear the world, or smell the world, right? So we are going to be all about sight today. And I should say that all of our camp materials are, like I said, free. They're open to anyone, and they're all on our website. So after the lesson today, I'm going to drop a link in the comments and you can go explore. And it's all go at your own pace, choose your own adventure. And we try to really, really focus on getting outside and off of screens, even though we're on a screen right now. I know it's tricky. And we chose to do a virtual camp again this summer because this summer is a little weird. Some people are still in bubbles. Some people are starting to expand their circles. So if you're just hanging out with your own family, or maybe one or two other families, this camp is for you. And maybe if you play with more kids or see more people, you can still do all of these activities. You'll just have a bigger group. So be safe and do what's comfortable for your family. Okay, so let's see. We talked about what camp is. I want to see, let me see, I'm going to peek over at the comments section really quick. So if you are in summer camp and you would like to say hi to me or share maybe a nature sighting that you've seen, you can type it in the comments and I will check in on that. And if you're watching this and it's not live, I will peek back at it and see if there's any new comments, so you can still comment, okay? And let me go see. There we go. So there are no comments yet. So if you have any comments and you want to say hi or share a story, type them in the chat or have a grown-up do it. Okay, so we're going to talk about sight today. And eyes are amazing. And humans and many, many animals rely really heavily on sight. Sight is probably our most important sense. That's the one that we get the most information from, and the one that we really use to navigate our world, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about the human eye first. And I want to, there's comments. Josh, hi. Oh, he has hummingbirds. That is very exciting. I'm going to pop out and plug my computer in real quick. Oops. Okay, all plugged in. So Josh, you have hummingbirds. I have hummingbirds too. I love seeing them. Most of the time I just see the female, but sometimes I see the male. You can tell if it's a male because it has that red shiny stuff on his throat. Okay, so anyone else, feel free to drop me a comment. So like I said, we are going to talk about our eyes, our human eyes first, okay? And let's see, I'm going to share my screen so I can show you some pictures. And this is going to get a little sciencey. We're going to talk about some big words here. So I want you to know that if if this is too much science, that's okay. You can just tune me out a little bit or look at the pictures and think about your own eyes. You don't have to remember any of these words unless you want to, because science is super cool and I love science words. Anyways, here we have a picture, a diagram that a scientist who is also an artist made. And this is a diagram of our eye. And this over here, where my mouse is a picture that I took of a kid's eye. And eyes can be all sorts of different colors and they're all beautiful and or super cool. And this eye is brown. I have brown eyes too. I like brown eyes a lot. So this is the eye, and this light comes in here, right? This out here, this is called the cornea. Everybody say cornea. And this part is a clear layer that covers your whole eye. So if you ever maybe have seen someone put a contact lens in, that's the part that they're touching, their cornea. And you should always wash your hands before you touch your eyes. Even if like there's something in your eye that you need to get out, you should wash your hands first. So the light goes through the cornea and then it hits the iris and the pupil. And the iris here, everybody say iris, iris. This is the colorful part of your eye. So in this eye, it's this brown part. And the iris is a sort of muscle, and it can open and close the pupil. And the pupil is a hole that lets light in. So the pupil is this black circle in the eye. And if the circle is open, so if that pupil is larger, it's letting more light in. So if you've ever, seen somebody in the dark, their pupils will be really large. And then the iris can also make the pupil really, really tiny. So if ever you see a tiny pupil, it's trying to only let a little bit of light in. Maybe it's really bright out. So if you ever go out on a really bright day and you look at a friend or a family member and their pupils are really small, it's because their eye is like, hey, it's bright out, not so much light. And it's making their pupil small. So the iris helps to control how much light comes into the eye. All right, so light goes through the cornea, it goes through your pupil, and then it hits the lens. And the lens is kind of neat. It's hard for me to describe, but the lens can get longer and thinner or shorter and fatter. And that helps to focus the light, kind of like, so if you're thinking about focused or out of focus, you can think of a picture on your phone. It might be focused, which has really crisp, firm lines that are really sharp, or it could be blurry. And if I take my glasses off, things get really blurry. So this lens helps focus what you see. It focuses the light on the back of the eye at the fovea right here. And when this light hits the back of the eye, it excites all sorts of nerves and cells back there, and that information travels along the optic nerve to the brain. So light comes through the eye, hits the back of the eye, and then information goes to the brain. Okay, so cool. I'm going to go peek over at our Facebook page just to see if there's any questions about this, and then I'm going to show you some more pictures. No questions. All right, that's good. Well, it's not good or bad. Questions are good. I like questions. Okay, so now I'm going to share the screen again, and we're going to learn even more. Okay, so this is what we were looking at before. Now, this is an even more detailed picture, more science here. Same diagram of the eye. Light passes through the cornea, through the pupil, hits the lens, gets focused back here, and then this picture here is a super detailed drawing of the back of the eye, the retina, okay? And light passes through these blood vessels, and then it hits either rods or cones. And those are really special cells that help your eyes to see, to detect light. So cones are really useful for just telling if it's light or dark, seeing shadows. They really help you see, especially if it's dark out, if there's not so much light. Not if it's completely dark. We can't see in complete darkness. But if there's less light, Your cone or your rods are what help you. Your cones, though, are what help you to see color, which is pretty cool. And so there's lots and lots and lots of cones in this spot here where the light focuses on. So then all of that information from these cells here goes to your brain through the optic nerve. Okay, now listen. If you've had your brain turned off for this part up until now, I want you to turn it back on because this is really, really, really cool. Okay. Now, when light comes into our eye, right, it's bouncing off things in the world and we're seeing an image, right? This tree. But when that light hits the back of the eye, it actually gets flipped by the lens. So it's hitting the back of our eye upside down. So really, our eye is seeing the world upside down. But that information goes to our brain, and our brain flips it over for us. So we know when we're reaching for an apple on a tree, we're reaching up to the apple and not down like we would if we thought the world was upside down. So it's really neat that our brain is able to translate what we see so that we're able to, I don't know, function in the world, right? If we thought everything was upside down, that would be really hard for us. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing again. And I'm going to go check on our chat to see if anybody has questions, because I love questions. No questions, that's okay. All right, so we learned a lot about the human eye. And I also want to talk a little bit about visual impairments, right? Because not everybody's eyes work the same. Some people have perfect 20/20 vision and they can see far and near. Some people are only able to see far away in focus, and things that are up close are blurry. Me, I can't see anything far away. And actually, my hand has to be this close to my face before it comes into focus. So I definitely need my glasses. And then there's people who have visual impairments, right? And those people there's so many different types of visual impairments. It's really cool. Some people are only able to see in focus right in front of them. They don't have very good peripheral vision. Other people, it's the opposite. They can't see right in front of them, but they have really great peripheral vision. Some people maybe only see shadows of light and dark, and some people can't see at all. And it's really good to remember that everybody sees the world in a little bit different way, right? And if you find out that somebody has a visual impairment, it's good to check in with them sometimes. Like if you're out on a hike together and say, hey, is there anything I can do to make this better for you or easier? And they might say no, or they might say yes. But it's really good to be aware of that, okay? And speaking of which, I hope that our closed captioning will be working on this video when it's posted later. We'll double check that, don't worry. All right, so let's see. I want to talk about animal eyes a little bit now. And during our superhero week, we are going to be talking a little bit more about how an eagle might focus in on something really small and really far away, or how a bee can see different kinds of light than us, right? We'll talk about all those things. But now I just want to think about how, because of an animal's body or because of the way they move, they see the world differently from us. And I'm going to share my screen again. Let me make sure I have the right screen up to share. That's pretty important. Okay. So I want you to think a little bit. Here we go. Think about what kind of animal might see the world like this. This is grass that might be on a lawn or at a park. And what kind of animal might see the world from down here? And now I'm going to show you another picture. Whoa, this one's a little tricky to figure out when you first start looking at it. This is a picture taken from high up in the air. And here's a stream or a river, maybe. I think maybe a stream. And it flows into this little pool, a pond, and then it flows out again. And you can see the very tops of trees here looking straight down, and a little bit of dirt or rock. So what kind of animal do you think might see the world like this? You can type your answers in the comments. I'm really curious to see what you think. What kind of animals see the world so differently? I'm going to stop screen sharing. And I'm going to go peek at the comments, see what you say. Let's see. Ooh, Josh says, what happens to the eye when you're colorblind? That is a good question, Josh. So first of all, I'm a bird nerd and I am not an eye expert. But what I think is that, so remember how I said your eye has rods and cones, and the cones are what helps you see color. So there's, I believe, 3 different types of cones, and they each help you see a different type of color. And if one of those cones isn't working, I think this is the most common type, you might be red-green colorblind, which means that reds and greens kind of look the same and they kind of look, a little brownish gray. Okay. And if a different type of cone isn't working, you would have trouble seeing different types of color. And if you're totally colorblind, I believe your cones just don't work. It's only the rods that work. So you can still see, you can still detect light and know where things are, but it's all in shades of gray. And I think that's pretty neat too. My dad is red-green colorblind, and I have some friends who are totally colorblind. And I had never thought about how challenging looking for birds would be and trying to identify birds would be if you couldn't see color. And those people that I know, they rely a lot on the shape of the bird and the behavior of the bird, and they know the bird's sound. So when the bird is singing, they're able to identify it that way. So that was a really good question. Let's see. It looks like Josh also thinks the first picture, when you're looking through the grass, it could be a bug. And the second picture flying high could be a bird. Oh, and Linnea thinks the picture from up in the air is a bird too. Thanks, Linnea. Great. Yeah, so those are 2 different views, 2 different animal views of how animals might see the world. So I want you to all think about what kind of other views there might be. Like, think about what it would be like to be a flying squirrel gliding through treetops, or maybe a mole digging underground, or maybe a creature that hides in really thick bushes and peeks out, or maybe a creature like a deer that can be a hider, or one that runs like through grasses or through forests. I think that's really great. Oh, Linnea thinks the grass might also be a mouse. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've been thinking about how animals might see the world differently. Now I have something we can do. We can kind of check our own peripheral vision, okay? So this is really fun to do now in the daylight, and then check it again after you've had night vision for a little while. And I'll explain that in a second. So what we're going to do, I need to step back and get away from my computer a little because we need some more space. But what we're going to do is we'll all hold our pointer fingers out like this, and we're going to look straight ahead. Okay. And then keep looking straight ahead and move your arms to the side, and then stop when you can't see your fingers anymore. And I think I'm about right here. So if I turn to the side, you can see I'm almost, but not quite, with my hands totally to the side. Okay. And that's how far you can see in your peripheral vision, how far you can see to the side of you. And so remember I said it's different if you have night vision. So this is kind of tricky, especially since we all have screens on at night now. But if you're able to stay up after dark, or maybe you can go into a dark room if you can't stay up that late, I want you to try and not use a screen or a light for about 30 minutes. Okay, like maybe you can look for fireflies, or maybe you can play a little hide and seek in your backyard in the dark. That's kind of fun. Or maybe you're on a walk at night. But try not to look at any lights or any screens. And then before you turn any lights on, do that again. Check your peripheral vision. And let's see, if my peripheral vision is about here right now, usually when it's dark out, it's about here. And that's, I think, really, really cool how our eyes adjust and we're able to see a little bit differently, even with our same eyes, right? Super cool. Okay, so I think that's about all I want to cover right now. I want to say that Sight Week it's one of my favorites of camp. Okay, so we have so many good things to do. You all get to set up your nature journal. You get to do your first sit spots. I love sit spots. It's finding a really special place in nature where you get to kind of be friends with that spot for camp for 4 weeks. You get to learn about it and keep going back to it. We're going to do a rainbow scavenger hunt. We're going to do an activity about eye shine. That's animals and how their eyes can shine different colors at night. We're going to dress up like camouflage. We're going to dress up like bright colored birds. We're going to do crane dancing. Oh, it's going to be so cool. All right. So I'm going to peek at our comments one more time. If you have anything you want to add or share, you can type it in. Oh, Josh is asking, will we learn how animals see colors? So most animals, at least most mammals, have eyes that are a lot like ours. They have rods and cones in them. And so the ones that can see color see it kind of the same way we do with rods and cones. But there are animals that can see more colors or fewer colors. For example, dogs mostly see yellows and blues, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that before I started putting this camp together. So we're gonna dig into that just a little bit, but most animals see color. If they can see color, their eyes work a lot like ours do. Good question, Josh. Sounds like you have a lot of questions, and I really like that. It's good to have questions. Okay. If you have any last minute questions, type them in now. And I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us. And I'm going to put some links for camp in the comment section. This camp, once again, is free. It's open to anyone. You don't have to be a member. If you're in a position now where you feel like you can donate and support programming like this, we would absolutely welcome donations. It really helps us keep stuff like this going and keep it free for everybody. And if that's not something you can do right now, that is okay, because it will be here and it will be free for you, because nature is for everybody. Everyone should be outside, loving nature and exploring. So on that note, go explore, go see something cool, go think about animal eyes and your eyes. And I hope you see some beautiful bright colors. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.